The moment I stepped into that hotel ballroom, something inside me tightened. It wasn't the hum of small talk, the glitter of champagne flutes, or the stiff smiles people wore like masks. It was her. Claire, my wife of 8 years, the woman I had built my life around. She was only a few steps away, but her lips were on another man's. This wasn't some fleeting, drunken lapse in judgment. No, it was intentional. Her hand rested against his chest in a way that said she had claimed it. And in that instant, something in me cracked, not with a dramatic shatter, but with the subtle, devastating sound of glass splitting beneath pressure. I didn't storm across the room or make a scene. I didn't throw my drink or scream. Instead, I moved forward slowly, each step heavy, each breath tight in my lungs. When I stood close enough to her that I wouldn't have to compete with the noise of the crowd, I spoke. "You just ended our marriage." My voice was calm, steady, but it cut like a blade. Claire froze. The color drained from her face. Her lips parted, but no words came. The man, tall, polished, the kind I vaguely remembered from pictures she had shown me, immediately pulled away. Fear flashed in his eyes before he slipped into the crowd, vanishing like a shadow that didn't want to be caught. Claire stayed staring at me and whispered to words that unsettled me more than the kiss itself. "You're wrong." Those words echoed all the way home. The car was silent, except for the low hum of the engine. My grip on the steering wheel was so tight, my knuckles turned white, as if letting go meant falling apart. Beside me, Claire sat with her face turned toward the window, distant, unreachable. Finally, I broke the silence. "Who is he?" She hesitated, her hands twisting the strap of her clutch. "It's not what you think, Daniel." The words made me laugh bitterly. Not what I think. I had watched her kiss him. I had seen her hand pressed to his chest, the look in her eyes, the look that used to be mine. "Then explain it," I said, holding myself steady, though my chest burned. Because from where I was standing, my wife was kissing another man in front of everyone. Her breath came out shaky. It was a mistake. He leaned in. "I didn't. I saw your hand on him." Silence, the kind that weighs more than any excuse. The days that followed blurred into a haze of broken explanations and weak apologies. She repeated the same lines over and over. It just happened. It meant nothing. She wasn't thinking. But when I asked her to cut him out of her life, she refused. His name was Ryan, her team leader. The man she'd been traveling with for work, the one she had spent months with on late nights and business trips. Suddenly, the laughter over texts she never shared, the new dresses, the hours she couldn't account for. It all fell into place. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to convince myself that it was just one kiss, one slip, one mistake. But deep down, I knew that kiss wasn't the start. It was the reveal. One night while she was in the shower, her phone sat charging on the table. My hand hovered over it, my conscience screaming to leave it alone. But another voice reminded me. She had already broken the trust. If there was nothing to hide, there would be nothing to find. I unlocked it. The truth poured out in text after text, photo after photo, messages buried in what looked like harmless work chats. "Miss you already? Last night was amazing. Can't wait for the next trip." Photos of them together, private jokes, words dripping with intimacy that no husband should have to stumble across. By the time Claire walked into the room, her hair wet and her robe tied loosely around her, I was already sitting there, her phone in my hand, my heart in pieces. "Daniel," she whispered, her face pale. "You went through my phone." I met her eyes. My voice was quiet but sharp. I went through the life I thought I had, and I found the truth. We didn't talk that night. We didn't share a bed. I lay awake staring at the ceiling, replaying 8 years of marriage. The vows we'd spoken, the plans we'd made, the home we'd built together. Were they lies all along, or had she simply become someone I no longer knew the next morning? I packed a bag. Not because I was furious, but because staying meant letting the pain rot me from the inside. As I left, her texts began one after another. "I'm sorry, please. It didn't mean anything. I love you, Daniel. You're my husband. He's no one. But betrayal doesn't care whether the other person means something. The act itself is what destroys everything. A week later, she showed up at my small apartment. No makeup, no carefully chosen clothes, just Claire, raw and broken, her eyes red. "Please," she whispered. "Can we talk?" I let her in. We sat at the table, the distance between us heavier than any wall. "Why him?" I asked. Tears welled in her eyes. "I don't know. We were together all the time." He listened. He made me feel seen. My jaw tightened, so I didn't. "That's not what I mean," she said quickly. "You're a good husband, Daniel. I got lost." Lost, the word hit me like a slap. Forgetting an anniversary was lost. Misplacing your keys was lost. An affair wasn't being lost. It was choosing. And as I looked at her, it hit me. She wasn't crying because she had lost me. She was crying because I had caught her. The divorce didn't happen overnight. Part of me, maybe the foolish part, hoped she would truly fight for us. But her gestures were shallow. Flowers, texts, rehearsed apologies. Never honesty, never the hard choice of cutting him off. I called Ryan once from a blocked number. "You ruined my marriage," I told him. He sounded irritated, almost bored. "Look, man, it wasn't serious." She's the one who I hung up before he could finish. Not serious. As if reducing my wife to a fling softened the blow. Months dragged by. Papers were signed. Friends whispered. Her family begged me to forgive, to focus on the good years. But forgiveness isn't something you give away just to ease other people's discomfort. 6 months later, I saw her again. A coffee shop. She looked thinner, worn, like life had dulled her shine. "Daniel," she said softly, "I just wanted you to know." I ended it with him. "It's over." I nodded. "Good for you." Her eyes searched mine, desperate. "Do you think we could ever know?" My voice was gentle but firm. "Because that night when I caught you, I didn't just lose my wife. I lost the version of you I could trust never to put me there." Her eyes filled with tears, but she didn't argue. She just whispered, "I'm sorry," and walked away. A year has passed now. The pain isn't sharp anymore. It's like a scar, quiet, but ready to ache when the air shifts. I've started dating again cautiously. I don't snoop through phones. I don't demand explanations. But I carry the memory with me like a warning. Trust, but never blindly. Sometimes late at night, I replay that moment in the ballroom. The music, the laughter, her lips on his. I remember my own words. "You just ended our marriage." And her reply, "You're wrong." She was wrong. Not because we stayed together. We didn't. But because she believed denial could erase betrayal, it never can.